And Trump heads back to Iowa tomorrow, but he will spend some time in South Carolina later this week, showing Trump is feeling so good about his chances that he's already looking ahead to these battles looming ahead, and there are many more to come, Wolf.
Jim Acosta reporting for us. Thank you. I sat down with Donald Trump this morning just before he left on his latest campaign trip. Mr. Trump, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
All of a sudden in Iowa, you got double-digit leads according to the CNN most recent poll. Is this now a two-man race?
I don't know that it is. I doubt it is. You know, you never know what's going to happen. I know I'm working very hard in Iowa. That's the one where somebody's closest to me, but I took a pretty big lead over the weekend, if you saw the polls that came out, including yours. We've taken big leads everywhere. I mean, nationally big leads. In New Hampshire, very, very big. In South Carolina, amazing. So Iowa's very important to me.
What do you have that Ted Cruz doesn't have?
Well, look, I don't want to knock anybody, but he's got a lot of problems. He's got a problem with his Canadian birth. He was born in Canada. It's a real question. And, you know, as you know, Lawrence Tribe from Harvard and many other lawyers are saying he can't do what he's doing. He's not allowed to run. And you have some lawyers that say definitively he cannot run. That's
Is that why his
problem.
numbers have gone down in Iowa?
I don't know. I think it has an impact because I think they said 36% of the people agree that he can't run for president. He was born in Canada, and he was born on Canadian soil. Now, he can run for Prime Minister of Canada, but I don't think he can. I honestly don't know if he can run. And there's a question mark. And you know, if he ever got the nomination, the first thing that will happen, the first day, the first week, will be he will be sued by the Democrats. And that's going to be it. I mean, you know, what are they going to do? Go 2 years and nobody's going to know? It would take years to go through the court system. So he should solve that problem. In addition to that, he has the Goldman Sachs problem where he borrowed a lot of money. He never said it. Then he borrowed money from Citibank. He never told anybody. He never disclosed it.
He did disclose it to one entity of the federal government, but not to another.
He didn't put it in his personal disclosure form, okay, financial disclosure form. And you got to do that. I mean, you got to do it. He's got two banks. But he didn't do it for a reason. He didn't do it because he doesn't want people to see that he's borrowing from banks that he's supposed to be regulating.
The establishment Republican candidates, there are basically four: Marco Rubio, Chris Christie, Jeb Bush, John Kasich. Who do you see as your biggest threat?
I don't really view anybody. I just want to do my own thing, Wolf. I mean, I could say this one, that one, what difference does it make? I just want to do my own thing. We're really resonating. We're doing great with evangelicals in Iowa, as an example. And nationwide, I'm leading with the evangelicals by a lot. And we're doing fantastically with the Tea Party. They're terrific people. We're doing great with the Tea Party. We're doing great with everything. I mean, I'm leading every national poll by a lot. And now I'm leading every single state, and in most cases by a lot.
You just posted a Facebook video. You say the establishment is against you. Why do you say that?
Well, I think the establishment actually is against me, but really coming online because they see me as opposed to Cruz, who is a nasty guy who can't get along with anybody. You know, look, at a certain point, you got to make deals. We can't have a guy who stands in the middle of the Senate floor and every other senator thinks he's a whack job, right? You know, you have to make deals. You have to get along. That's the purpose of what our founders created. And Ted cannot get along with anybody. He's a nasty person. You don't see that. And even when he was supportive of me, I kept saying, watch what's going to happen. He's a nasty guy. And he brought it up at the debate. He started it. I finished it. But he brought it, you know, he started getting very bad at the debate. And then he tells lies. I mean, he said, I knocked down some woman's home. He's got bulldozers. I never knocked down her home. She didn't want it. And the words eminent domain, you wouldn't have roads. You wouldn't have airports, you wouldn't have hospitals, you wouldn't have schools. You have to have eminent domain. By the way, the Keystone Pipeline is all based on eminent domain. You wouldn't move that thing 10 feet without taking that land on which it sits. And by the way, all those people get paid a lot of money. It's not like they take it and pay a lot of money. But he makes a big deal out of eminent domain. You wouldn't have a country. You wouldn't have one highway in this country if you wouldn't have a railroad. You wouldn't have anything. So they make it eminent domain because most people don't know what it is. Then they have me taking a woman's house. I never took the woman's house. I never knocked down anybody's house, but they show a bulldozer knocking down a house. It's really false stuff.
You have very loyal supporters.
I do.
And in fact, I think you were joking, but you said it's getting a lot of buzz. You said you could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody. That wouldn't affect the support you're getting from your supporters.
Well, you don't think I was joking. You know I was joking. Of course I was joking. And the whole room was laughing, and I was laughing when I said it.
Because it got, you know, you got some criticism.
Well, no, from dishonest press. They said, oh, he said something. When they show me, I'm laughing, they're laughing, everybody's having a good time. Of course I'm joking. I mean, you know that.
Of course.
But And the purpose of that is to say that people love me. You know, they want to stay with me. They're loyal. They're tired of seeing our country being pushed around and led by people that are stupid people. They're tired of it, Wolf. I mean, we're tired of the Iran deals. We're tired of the Sergeant Bergdahl deals, where we get a traitor and they get 5 of their killers that they've wanted for years. They're tired of dealing like this. We can't take it anymore. And people are looking at it, and they're looking at me, and they have confidence in me. You know, I built a great, great company, and I'm going to use that talent now to do it for the United States.
Another New Yorker who's built a great company is Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York City. He's now toying with the idea of running as a third-party independent. If he were to do so, could you beat him?
I'd beat him, and I would love him to do it, actually. I love the competition. I love the competition. I would love for Michael to do it. You know, we used to be friends. I guess we're not friends anymore. I don't think we are. But we used to be friends. Good friends. When I had a problem, he had a big problem in the Bronx, I cleared up the problem. It was a big project they were unable to get it built. It was under construction for like 25 years, way, way over budget. I took it over, I got it knocked up in 1 year, and now it's a tremendous success. Michael asked me if I'd get involved in it, and I'm the one that got it done and did a great job.
Well, it could be competitive.
I hope he's going to do it. I mean, I hope he's. I don't know that he is.
There's a lot of murmurings that he might do it. You've listed your net worth as about $10 billion. Forbes says, we just checked, at $36.5 billion for Michael Bloomberg.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
You don't think he's worth 30?
No, it's a technology company. I mean, if somebody came in, frankly, and comes up with a better machine than him, people stop using.
So what do you
his
think
machines.
he's worth?
I don't even know why. I have no idea. I don't even know why other companies haven't come up with a better machine. I mean, why? I mean, so simple. They come up. It's such a competitive world, but for some reason they haven't come up with a machine. I don't know. Maybe because he was the mayor of New York. I don't know. But they haven't come up, and it's so easy to do, you would think. So I think it's very fragile. I like real estate better.
If he says he's ready to spend $1 billion of his own money to be elected president, are you ready to match him dollar for dollar
I don't
if
know.
you're the Republican
nominee?
nominee?
I don't think he's going to do that. I don't think he's going to run, actually, but I may be wrong, but I don't think he's going to run.
Why don't you think he might run?
I'm the only, so far, if he comes in, he'd self-fund. I'm the only person self-funding. Everyone else, I mean, Ted Cruz is totally, totally conditioned down to the oil companies. I mean, the oil companies control him and others. You look at Jeb Bush, poor Jeb. I mean, here's a guy spent $100 and some odd million already, and he's almost last. What he's done to the Bush family, and he doesn't even want to use the Bush name. He's ashamed of the Bush name. What Jeb Bush has done to the Bush family is very sad. Then he brings out his mother. I said, Jeb, your mother can't help you with ISIS. She can't help you with China. She can't help you with these people, Jeb. You got to do it yourself. But here's a guy who spends over $100 million and he's nowhere. I mean, I think he's disgraced himself, to be honest with you. But you have all these people, whether it's Jeb or Hillary or anybody, they're all controlled by the people that give them the money. I'm putting up my own money. I'm self-funding, which is very nice.
We have much more to hear from my interview with Donald Trump. Up next, he talks candidly about what happens if he were to lose in Iowa. And I also ask him who he'd rather run against, Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton. We're following breaking news in the presidential race with just 1 week to go until the Iowa caucuses. I sat down with Donald Trump this morning to get his candid assessment on where his campaign stands. You've called Bernie Sanders a total whack job. You've said you don't know if Hillary Clinton will make it legally. Who would you rather face in a general election contest?
I don't care. I mean, really, I don't even focus on them. I only focused on Hillary for a couple of days last week, as you saw. I don't even think about Hillary, and I don't think about Bernie Sanders. The first thing I have to do is, we had 17, now we're down to about 12 or 13. I got to get rid of them. I got to win against them. A lot of them I like. They're good people. There's some very good people in that group. I mean it. Really good people, and people that have become friends of mine. You don't see that because you won't report on that stuff. It's more, you know, the conflicts are more fun, right? But I can't tell you really who I'd rather have. I give it a lot of thought, actually, believe it or not. But I don't think it matters. I can say this, I will win. I'll bring in states that nobody ever thought of. I think I have a chance to win New York. I defended New York. Nobody else was going to defend New York last debate and got good credit for it. But the people in New York love that I defended them, because nobody ever defends New Yorkers, right? I'm going to win Pennsylvania. I'm going to win West Virginia. I'm going to win Virginia. I'm going to win Michigan, because I protect the car industry. Nobody else protects the car industry.
You really think you have this Republican nomination in the bag?
No, I think that I have a good chance. I mean, look, I'm leading in all the polls. Iowa is very important to me. I should say to you, well, I'd like to do well in Iowa. I don't want to do that. I'd love to win Iowa. If I don't win it, I don't win it. I go to New Hampshire where I have a very big lead, and the people up there have been unbelievably good to me. But Iowa is very important to me, and I have a great bond with Iowa, and I'm going to keep Iowa where it is. You know, there's a big move to move Iowa to the back of the pack in the next election cycle. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that happen. I have a great bond. You look at a guy like Cruz, he came out totally opposed to ethanol. Well, that affects many, many farmers and many, many jobs in the state of Iowa. If I was in Iowa and somebody said I'm opposed to ethanol, I would absolutely not vote for him. And then the governor came out and said, you should not vote for him. I mean, they pointed, he said, it wasn't like vote for somebody. I've never even seen that. Don't vote for this guy. He's really bad for Iowa. So I think that, I'm going to do well in Iowa. I bonded with the people. I bonded with the evangelicals. I bonded with the Tea Party and the people of Iowa.
Coming up, Donald Trump is renewing his attacks on the debate moderator, Megyn Kelly. Will the GOP frontrunner participate in the next Republican debate? There's a whole lot more coming up in my sit-down interview with Donald Trump. Plus, let's get some more now. I sat down earlier today with Donald Trump in his New York office. We spoke about the race for the White House. Before Iowa, there's a Republican debate Thursday night. Fox is hosting that debate. You and Megyn Kelly have had issues. She's one of the moderators. Are you going to be at that Fox debate?
Well, probably. I mean, I don't like her. She doesn't treat me fairly. I'm not a big fan of hers at all. I don't care. I mean, she probably was, I might be the best thing that ever happened to her. I don't know, because whoever even heard of her before the last debate. But I thought she was very unfair in the last debate. A lot of people said I won that debate. Everybody said I won the last debate. But I'm not a fan of Megyn Kelly. I don't like her. She probably doesn't like me, and that's okay. But she better be fair. I'd like to go to the debate. I enjoy the debates. I've done well in the debates. Every single poll has said I've won every debate. But we're going to see what happens. Going to be exciting.
When you say probably, you haven't 100% decided you will be at the debate?
Nothing's 100%.
Why not?
I'm not 100%. I'll see. If I think I'm going to be treated unfairly, I'll do something else. But I don't think she can treat me fairly, actually. I think she's very biased, and I don't think she can treat me fairly. But that doesn't mean I don't do the debate. I like doing the debates. I've won every single debate, according to every poll. I've won every single debate. I think the debates have been good. You know, after the last debate, I went up 11 points in the poll. I went up 11 points right after the debate. The poll came out. I went up 11 points because of the debate. So I want to do the debates. They're good for me, but I don't think she can treat me fairly, and I'm not a big fan of hers. Maybe I know too much about her.
You and I have been doing interviews for at least a decade. And you've changed your position on some issues, but on certain national security issues, you've been remarkably consistent.
It's true.
And I want to get specific with you on what you would do if you were elected president. This is October 2008. This is what you said about Iraq.
Hey, look, it wasn't Saddam Hussein that attacked the World Trade Center, okay? In fact, those people, when they sent their families back, most of them went back to Saudi Arabia. It wasn't Saddam Hussein that took down the World Trade Center. And in fact, Saddam Hussein killed terrorists. They had very few terrorists because he didn't want terrorists in Iraq, and he killed terrorists. So we go and attack Saddam Hussein. Now, Iraq now is the #1 breeding ground for terrorists. All the terrorists go to Iraq to learn their trade. You know, we all have trades, right? And they go to Iraq. But you didn't have that when Saddam Hussein was running Iraq with an iron fist. Now you do. Now, we took out Saddam Hussein. What have we created? A mess. And the day we leave Iraq, it's going to be, forget it.
And there's not one word in that I would change. Not even a word. And I also said, if you went on, or I said to other people at the time, that Iran will take over Iraq. I mean, look, it's going to happen. Just like you're sitting there, Iran will take over Iraq.
Well, Iran's influence in Iraq has grown inordinately.
It's not influence. They're going to take it over. It's just a question of time. They'll just take it over. They've taken over.
Right, so what would you do?
We gave them $150 billion.
If you were president on January 20th, 2017, you're sworn in as president, what would you do to A, stop ISIS, and B, prevent, let's say, Iran from taking over Iraq?
Well, the one thing I would have done a long time ago is take the oil. And we still don't do it properly, but I would have taken the oil. And when we left, we shouldn't have been in Iraq. And I said, don't go into Iraq, and don't go in. You're going to destabilize the whole Middle East. Another thing I said there, if you go on, you're going to totally destabilize the Middle East, and Iran is going to take over. Okay. Now we're in, because of stupid decisions, we're in. And they didn't knock down the World Trade Center, by the way, okay? They had nothing to do with knocking down the World Trade Center. So we're in Iraq. We've spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives, wounded warriors all over the place we're in. And now Iran has taken it over. I would take the oil, but I would have taken the oil when we left. As bad as it was, we shouldn't have been there. I would have taken the oil when we left. Because we just left a shell. These aren't politicians. These are corrupt officials running Iraq. These are totally corrupt people. And Iran, essentially, is right now controlling Iraq. If you looked over history, they would fight, but they were equal. They would fight. Nobody would move. They would fight for years and years. It was because they was there.
So how
we
aggressive would you be?
we decapitated their military, and now Iran goes in and
How aggressive would you be in trying to destroy
I don't want to
ISIS?
tell you. You know why? Because we want to be unpredictable. We need unpredictability in this country. You're asking a question like that. I know it's politically never good to say, I don't want to tell you, but I have a good chance of winning. I don't want the enemies and even our allies to know exactly what I'm thinking. We've got to be poker players. We've got to be chess players. We're you know what we are? We're checker players and we don't play well. And part of the reason is we always tell everything. Like Obama goes and he's got 50 people that he's sending over. Why does he have to make an announcement he's sending 50 people? He's sending 50 soldiers, our finest, over there to Iraq and to Syria. Why does he have to say that? Why does he have to announce it? Why couldn't he just let them go?
But
now
would
they
you
have a
use
target.
ground
Excuse me,
forces
now
to-
they have a target on their back.
We'll have much more of my interview coming up with Donald Trump. He says he'll destroy ISIS. I'll ask him how. And the man known for living in luxury talks about his downscale stay on the campaign trail.
A lot of buzz that you slept in a Holiday Inn Express.
I did.
The other day. How did that
I
go?
did 2 nights, actually. They
Two
said 1
nights.
night. It was actually 2 nights. I thought it was terrific. It was clean. It was nice. And the bed was good. That's all I need.
More now of my one-on-one interview with the Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump. National security is a huge issue in this campaign, and we talked extensively about the terrorist threat to the United States.
Would you use ground forces to destroy ISIS?
I will tell you, I will destroy ISIS. I will destroy ISIS. Do you know how bad it is for me to say that? Wouldn't it be nice if we could surprise him? General George Patton didn't say, he doesn't, and Wolf Blitzer, would you use ground force? Yes, I would use. No, I wouldn't use. You got to have some element of surprise. You have to have some unpredictable. We are so predictable. You have to be unpredictable a little bit. When Obama announced that he was leaving, okay, he gave us a definite day when he said we're leaving Iraq. We shouldn't have been there, but he should have never announced a date certain when we were leaving. We're totally predictable as a nation. Now, bottom line, I will do a number on ISIS like you wouldn't believe. But I don't want to sit here and tell you every single thing I want to do. At some point, we're warriors, right? At some point, you have to surprise the enemy. I mean, I watch these guys like Lindsey Graham, who's just not a smart person. He says, we have to go here with this number of people. We have to attack them from this level and this level. Wouldn't it be nice if we could surprise them and knock the hell out of them?
Another interview we did on September 24th, 2007, right here. You said this about America's standing in the world at the time.
Well, just look at this country. We've gone from this tremendous power that was respected all over the world to somewhat of a laughingstock. And all of a sudden, people are talking about China and India and other places, even from an economic standpoint. America's come down a long way, a long way. The United States has come down a long way, and it's very, very sad. We're not respected. That was
You've
the
been very
beginning of
consistent.
China. Well, and that was the beginning of China. That was the beginning of India when India, by the way, India is doing great. Nobody talks about it. And I have big jobs going up in India. But India is doing great. But that was the beginning of China. That was the beginning of India. Look at everything I told you. Everything I told you is all right. Whether it's Iraq, whether it's Iran, whether it's China, whether it's India, whether it's Japan.
President George W. Bush, he was in office
Right.
in 2007.
Absolutely.
When you said
I'm no fan. I've never been a fan
but
of
who's
Bush.
more responsible for the weakening of America internationally? Would it be President Bush or President Obama? Because you've been very critical of both.
I think Bush did a bad job, and I think Obama carried it out. He continued to do a bad job.
Who do you blame more?
I would say that it's pretty equal. I would say that Obama's been very, very weak. It could have been stemmed at the beginning of his administration. What he didn't do is he didn't stop Obama. The devaluation of the Chinese currency has absolutely destroyed us. It's killed us. They have created one of the great thefts of all time. They have stripped our country of jobs, of money,
of factories. You look at the number of factories that have closed. And I'm not only talking about China, I'm talking about other countries too. Look at Mexico, what they're doing to it. It's unbelievable. That's a mini version of China. And Obama allowed them to get away with it now for almost 8 years.
If you were elected president, would you move the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem?
I would, yes.
How quickly would you do that?
I do it fairly quickly. I have a lot of friends in that world. You know, I was the Israeli Day Parade, 2004. I was the Grand Marshal walking up Fifth Avenue. And I have great relationships to Israel. And by the way, the worst thing that's ever happened to Israel is Barack Obama, and especially with respect to this horrible deal that we just made with Iran. This is the worst thing that's happened to Israel. I do not know, and I tell my Jewish friends, how do you support this guy? He's a disaster for Israel. And most of them don't know. They say, we don't know. It's almost like it's a habit.
Back in 2008, when we spoke, you called Sarah Palin, who has now endorsed you, quote, very impressive, and you said you would trust her with the economy.
I would trust her, yes.
To deal with this economic crisis, the enormity, something that we haven't seen, some say, since the Great Depression?
Well, look at what other people have been doing, and they had a lot of experience, and they're the ones that got us into this mess. Maybe you need less experience. Well, that was when she was chosen as the vice presidential nominee by John McCain. And I backed John McCain 100%. He was, having an uphill battle because he was sort of like what happened. The last year of Bush was a disaster. And John McCain was having a hard time. And yes, I always liked Sarah Palin. I respected her. I loved her loyalty, even her loyalty to me. Look at the beautiful loyalty to me. She went out the other day and backed me in front of thousands of people. We had a packed arena at Oral Roberts University, and it was packed. Bernie, by the way, does not get crowds like
You
that.
get very big crowds. There's no doubt about that. And we've mentioned
And
that
Bernie
many
is second.
times.
I will say.
He gets big crowds,
but
too.
it's nowhere near.
Would
the
you
crowds
consider
that I
Sarah
get.
Palin for your cabinet?
I don't want to even talk about it now. You know the nice part? She didn't ask. She called me up. She said, I love what you've done. You've created a movement. You're going to win. I would love to endorse you. And I was a little bit surprised because I thought she might endorse, she's endorsed Cruz in the past. In fact, without her endorsement, he wouldn't have won for the Senate in Texas. So I was really impressed that she did that, but she never asked for a thing.
Did you see Tina Fey reprising
I did.
Sarah Palin's
I did.
Saturday Night Live?
I did. It was very cute.
And Daryl Hammond plays you. What do you think of him?
Well, I think Daryl's great. I mean,
He does a pretty good job.
He does
yeah.
pretty good.
It's very funny. You got to admit.
He's very good.
One final question. A lot of buzz that you slept in a Holiday Inn Express.
I did.
The other day. How did that go?
2 nights, actually. They
Two
said one
nights.
night. It was actually 2 nights. I thought it was terrific. It was clean. It was nice. And the bed was good. That's all I need. I don't need Mar-a-Lago. I want to win. I want to make our country great. I want to devote my energy, whatever this ability that I've had over the years, for making things really good and doing well. That's why when I put in my statements, my financial statement, I'm a private company. People couldn't believe how successful I am. More successful than they even thought. I built a great company, some of the greatest assets in the world. And I say that only in that that's the kind of thinking this country needs. We have people that are incompetent running our country. We can't have it anymore. We're not going to have a country left. We're going to do something great. We're going to make America great again.
Mr. Trump, thanks very much for
Thank you
joining
very
us.
much. Thank you, Wolf.
Thank you.